I moved to Atlanta about 6 years ago to become the editor of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. As anyone who's moved knows, there's a lot of packing and organizing involved, a lot of filling boxes, a lot of emptying drawers, a lot of decisions about what to discard. As I worked with my family to pack up our Ohio house, I discovered an odd package in the back of one of my dresser drawers. Something I'd put there years before and forgotten. 2 cassette tapes. For a moment, I had no memory and thought they were destined for the trash. Then I remembered what was on the tapes, and I thought they might be worth listening to before I dumped them. For a couple of weeks, I searched for a cassette player. So for anyone old enough to know what I'm talking about, you can't find one. You can't find one anywhere. Finally, a friend of mine who worked at the radio station offered to use his equipment to convert the tapes to digital files. I tell you that story today because I want you to know how deeply personal and meaningful it is to me to be part of this graduation ceremony. And I think you'll want to know why those audio tapes are one of my most precious possessions. So what was on the tapes? About 20 years earlier, I'd recorded a long interview with my father. He had just retired after about 30 years as a Cleveland, Ohio police officer. I'd done it somewhat impulsively when my wife and I had gone to visit my parents shortly after the birth of our first child. But the recording offers me a rich personal memory and connection with my father, who died about 14 years ago. But I share that story today with the Academy graduates because I want you to know how much it means to those around you, your family, your friends, your community, to choose this profession. I want you to know how much impact you can have, how long that impact can last. Your impact will reach far and wide and well beyond your own life. Of course, when I listen to the interview, I'm reminded of childhood memories. Dad tells some very funny stories, which I really can't repeat in this environment. But I'm also reminded mostly of the commitment it takes to do this job, the self-discipline, the stamina, and the persistence. At perhaps no time in our country's history has the work of law enforcement been more important and more demanding than it is now. We've never needed more intelligent and dedicated people to do it. The requirements of your training have never been greater. By all accounts, you are joining one of the nation's best police departments. You are representing one of the world's great cities. You are serving some of the country's most prominent citizens. Your chief, who is a personal friend of mine, as you noted when she took that shot at me while she had the microphone. Chief Shields is welcomed and respected among Atlanta's community leadership. She speaks of this organization in strong words and proud tones. She expects a lot from you. And the scrutiny you'll face has never been greater. I'm not sure my father ever got over having a son who ended up working in the media. It would not be lost on him that at times you will protect and secure situations for the media to do its job. The very media that will provide the forum for those who will criticize your performance and decisions that you make in life-threatening situations. In our society, you have your job. In the media, we have ours. Chief Shields and I don't always agree. It is the price you'll pay for a job where you experience the world close up instead of from afar. You will know things and understand things that other people won't. You'll make judgments and take actions in situations that others will never face. And as you look about this room at your family and friends, I can tell you firsthand, they're part of this. No one will be more proud of the job you do than they. I will always be the son of a police officer. And my father's words, which I can listen to now over and over again, still guide me. Earlier I said your impact will last well beyond even your life. as well-trained law enforcement professionals, I realize that you expect proof of my statements. So here's a story for you. When my father died, my mother organized a big Catholic funeral to mark his long and well-lived life. She insisted that all of her 6 children greet each person who came to the visitation during that cold, snowy January in Cleveland. As each person met my mother to pay their respects, it was our job to introduce the ones she didn't know or didn't recognize. We kept our eyes on the line, nodding to each other as we identified the visitors. But eventually there was an old guy in the line that none of us knew. We nervously glanced around as he got closer to my mom, unsure of how to handle the awkwardness of the situation. He took her hand and he introduced himself. "You don't know me," he said. He went on to tell my mother that her husband had arrested him many years earlier as a young man. He apparently lived in the neighborhood my father patrolled as a young officer. He said my father helped him get on the right track in his life. He'd seen the obituary in the newspaper. "I just wanted to thank him," he said. So I hope you remember that story. And when the days are long, and when the job gets tough, and it will, please remind yourselves of the lives you're impacting. And try to remember that your interactions with most citizens will be among the most important and memorable of their lives, even if they seem routine to you. Make the world and Atlanta a better place because of your service. Thank you.